The Nigerian government's already engaged in a major battle with the militant Islamist group Boko Haram, who've killed hundreds of people this year. The BBC's Mark Lobel met the leader of the Shia Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki, in Kaduna state in Nigeria.
Since his 9 years behind bars for civil disobedience against military regimes, he's now protected from hero worshippers and threats to his life. Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki, here leading his weekly Quran class, says his once tiny decades-old movement now inspires hundreds of thousands of Nigeria's Shia Muslims, for whom he wants a purely religious state in Africa. Very media savvy, he's funding a film to recreate how the Islamic Revolution arrived here in the 19th century. Ever since the Iranian Revolution in 1979, he's wanted to revive it here peacefully, he insists, with the help of a daily newspaper and shortly a TV station. But even though the Sheikh says his guards are like karate-trained Boy Scouts, political analysts fear he's also prepared to use force.
The Supreme Leader ensures that his members infiltrate the army, the police, the state security services. It has a youth vanguard which goes through military drills, which mimics the state security services.
A Sunni Islamist group in Nigeria has killed over 400 this year, including its suspected some near this hotel in the north. These recent bombings highlight how vulnerable the Nigerian state is to militants.
The government's now concentrating on another radical Islamist group, Boko Haram. They're suspected of carrying out a suicide car bombing right here on the streets of Kaduna on Easter Sunday, which killed over 40 passers-by.
The attacks took place in the state in which Sheikh Zakzaki bases his operations. The governor here wants to tackle the current instability by working with all religious leaders, including Sheikh Zakzaki. But that could be tricky, as the Sheikh blames Nigeria's security forces, working on behalf of what he calls an oil-hungry West, for the recent bombings.
Security forces are behind it. There's nothing like Boko Haram. I have never seen a single man calling himself Boko Haram. Our enemies are from outside, and they are the ones behind those bombings.
Although the movement poses no immediate threat, civil activists say that if they did rise up, they would be a bigger problem than Boko Haram, because their many supporters are better organized and educated. A possible strike by America and Israel thousands of miles away in Iran on what their government insists is a purely civilian nuclear program there could cause the movement to rise up. Iran is a spiritual ally of the Sheikhs, and he told me that an attack there would have an impact here, although he said exactly what that would be would depend on where the attack took place. It's another worry for an increasingly insecure country. Mark Lobel, BBC News, Kaduna.